Okay, and we're recording.
Are we?
We are.
Okay, good. We must be recording because the cats are here.
Yeah.
So that's good.
What's up, guys? I'm Jackie.
What's up? I'm Drew.
And what are we here to talk about today?
I think just a lot of background on why we even travel, what got us into traveling, how you and I started traveling together, and kind of like stuff we're into, really.
Yeah. So, what got you into traveling, Drew?
Honestly, just like kind of the way I grew up and was raised. My family being from overseas and coming to the U.S.
Where's your family from?
Family's from Scotland, Alba Gubra, Scotland. Let's go. So a lot of time over there when I was younger. And then my dad is always into other cultures, other history, other food. So we were introduced to like all that really young. Mm-hmm. And that's one thing that really stood out in my mind. And my mom also being involved in the arts, being around art, going to different galleries, that kind of stuff. Like, so I had a big imagination. And then obviously the 90s being like the mecca of really goofy movies. So just kind of chasing that. That was really like the intro to it. Like, it's all I cared about was all I knew. Like, my dad and I would always watch History Channel when I was a kid. Mm-hmm. Always had the National Geographics. Always saw the crazy pictures. I was like, shit, one day I want to be in that fucking picture. And that's kind of like where my life has been heading towards ever since. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like just chasing that next, place that was in the back of my mind as a little kid, really, is where it stems from.
That's cool.
What about you?
Well, I was basically born into traveling, raised in a cockpit, since my dad was a pilot. But funnily enough, we never flew anywhere with my dad unless he was the pilot. So like we never flew commercially anywhere with my dad.
He's just like, hey, I got a plane. Let's go. Like, get in, kids. You guys want to go somewhere? Let's go.
Hop in. He was Gene Autry's private pilot for many years, and Gene would let us take the plane sometimes. We'd
no big deal.
Fly to San Francisco. We flew to Idaho one time, but most of my traveling was actually done with my mom on a plane.
Yeah.
Her also being in the airline industry. So traveling was just always something that you do. You get on a plane and you go somewhere. And my dad and my stepmom were always going to exotic places, and I always wanted to go too, because
it was so much different back then because you didn't have social media. You didn't have the photos. Like, everything was so much more exotic.
Yeah. Yeah, it was totally different. Like, I remember my stepmom bringing home stuff from like South Korea. Like, she's going to Seoul on trips. This?
Yeah. It's like Mars, bro.
Yeah. She'd bring home like all of the fake bags and stuff.
Got all the swag.
Yeah. Yeah. And that might not have been from Korea, but somewhere in Asia. I specifically remember having a Hard Rock Cafe t-shirt from Seoul.
Okay. Hard Rock Cafe shirts in the 90s. That was like straight money. That was like currency. Like, oh, you got a Hard Rock Jamaica shirt? That means you went there, bro.
Yeah. It was like,
there was no like, hey, I'm buying this
online.
I'm going to buy this. Like, it's the same with like the Harley dealership shirts. That stuff was like currency.
Yeah.
You had some exotic one, like, oh shit, fool, you went where?
Yeah. So learning about different places through my family always made me want to go and see those places too.
It's like, where's that puka shell necklace from, family?
Yeah, you had to get it in Hawaii. You had to go.
That's like a rite of passage.
You had to go. Yeah. And then getting into my 20s and being in a band and touring, like, that really opened up my eyes to the world, because that was the first time I went to Europe, first time I went to Asia, and it was like, it made me realize how easy it actually was. Like, once everything was planned out, passport, plane tickets, all that shit. It's like, once you're there, it's like, oh, I'm here, and got to meet so many different kinds of people and have the food and experience the culture and all of these different countries. And it was like, oh, like,
it's like a renaissance.
Yeah. And just like, oh, we're all just like people, and we're all into punk rock and like pizza and beer, and
pizza, beer, like everybody
smoking weed. Like, it's like, oh, okay.
Cool. Hey, everybody does the same shit.
Yeah.
We were talking about this last night, like how music has influenced us both so much. Mm-hmm. Like, where the music has meaning to it. Like when I listen to certain bands, if they're British bands, I have a feeling of being back in the UK and you have that like nostalgic feeling to it all. Same with punk rock. You know, you go to Hollywood, you're like, oh, okay, like I remember going to shows here when it was still cool.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Yeah. So then when we met shortly after we started dating, before we started dating, I had a solo trip planned.
Solo, it might have been with somebody else. Who knows?
No, I was going by myself. I was actually going to meet up with a girl that my youngest brother was dating at the time, but I was traveling there by myself. And
so what happened to your plans?
Well, then I meet Drew and we start dating. And so let's see, I think we'd been dating like 6 weeks, and then the trip was like 6 weeks out, maybe 6 or 8 weeks out. And I don't think I had told you about it prior to like this moment.
Yeah, it was like at the end of June. I feel like I heard about it.
Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah, and then the trip was like end of August. Yeah. And so I just like I remember we were on the phone one day, and I was like, yeah. So
we're old school. We talk on the phone still. We don't text. Like we're very like communication is huge with me and also with Jackie. Like it's like, hey, it's very personal. Like, you know, you want to get to know somebody, you got to talk to them in person. You know, don't be shy.
So I'm like, oh yeah. So, you know, I'm going to Spain at the end of August. Do you want to come?
Yeah. I was like, here's this really hot chick that I really like. We're into the same stuff. She's into music. And I knew it was one of those things, like, you know, when you meet somebody.
It was a test.
It totally was. I knew it was a test. I'm not stupid. Because it's like, hey, like, I've always been very free-spirited, like, probably to my own detriment. And Jackie's like, hey, I'm going to Spain. And she sounds so cool. I'm just like,
I'm going to La Tomatina.
I'm going
it's the Tomato Fight Festival.
Yeah, so there's this Tomato Fight Festival that's been going on in Spain since, like, the 1940s.
Something like that,
yeah. Like, during World War II, they would bring the rotten tomatoes into the town, and everybody would just have a giant tomato fight. So Jackie, being Jackie Veda, was like, I'm going to Barcelona. I'm also going to Valencia. And I was like, yeah, I'll go. And I think in the back of her mind, she's like, I don't know if this fool's serious. So when your boy Drew shows up with like I had like this smallest
It was like a
bag.
Gym bag,
bro.
Like a duffel
Smallest duffel bag you've ever seen. It was like, I'm like always traveled light. No rolly bag gang, day one. So had like this wacky, wonky ass like duffel bag that was like, surely your bag was fucking whack too, though. Your red bag, damn. We must have looked broke.
We didn't have my red bag on that trip. I just had like a carry-on size.
I thought you had that.
Bag.
Yeah, that wacky ass, but it was broken.
It was broken.
It was fucking. I remember dragging that bitch around. Yeah. So
it broke when we got there.
Yeah. So Jackie and I go to Barcelona and partied.
Yeah.
Just partied.
Yeah. So for La Tomatina, if you don't know.
This is actually a very good story. So.
Okay, so you have to go like with a group. Like I don't think you can just like roll up on it. Like
you can't go solo. You can't show up. And be like, hey, what's up, fam?
Here for La Tomatina. Like there's groups that will take you there.
Yeah.
So I had to sign up through this group. It was like
excursions. Don't even say the name of the group.
Excursions all around or something like that.
Oh fuck.
And so we get to Valencia because that was where the group was meeting up before going to Buñol for the Tomato Fest. So there's like a few days of like partying, getting to know the other people in the group before you go.
Getting to know people at the wackest bars, like €1 bar. Like, yo, like I got standards. Like I don't like. Jackie and I don't like go out and get like piss drunk. Like that's not our thing. Like we like nice cocktails, nice wine, that kind of stuff. The Euro pub, like people are like scratching together money to just get like a pint of like warm ass beer.
So there were two options with this group. There was either the hotel option or the hostel option. And so
I wasn't trying to get bug bites.
Right.
I mean, sorry, bed bugs.
Well, and honestly, before Drew was coming, I was going to do the hostel option. I was going to do the hostel option.
Just straight hostel.
And so, like, once he was coming, it's like, okay, well, obviously we're going to do the hotel thing. And this was a much smaller group compared to the hostel group, but we were still all together. So it's like, okay, got to be downstairs for the meet and greet and like the rundown of the schedule for
There was like
the
a
next few
whiteboard.
days. There was a whiteboard.
There's a whiteboard with some like drunk tour guide that's just a tour guide. The guys,
Hi, I'm Claire.
the people that are working these places, it's kind of, they do it so they can make money to stay there and just kind of live out the party. So they're usually hungover every day or still drunk in the morning.
Who knows?
And their voices are all shot out. Like the chick that was running part of the group, her voice was like a little bit of a long night.
I'm sorry, guys. I don't know what happened to my voice.
Like you were up all night, like twerking upside down. Like,
I mean,
what
good
else
for
is
her.
going on? Yeah,
Good
bless
for
her
Claire.
heart. She got some of that, like, if you've ever been to Europe and been to, like, a foam party, these are, like, parties where they fill up rooms full
There
of
was a
foam.
foam party.
There was a foam party.
But it was outdoors. It was like a whole courtyard.
Yeah, like,
it
fucking
wasn't even
marble.
like a small
This
space.
shit was bizarro, number one. I was like, hey, show up to the foam party tonight, mate. This party's going to be just absolute mental. It's going to be wicked fun, mate.
Yeah, they bus us over there.
Bust us over.
But no, so we're like sizing up everybody else in the group, and like what's really
I
funny
feel like an old-ass man.
is that the people that we were like, oh, they're going to be obnoxious, or like they think that they're so cool. Like those are the people we ended up making friends
Yeah,
with,
still
and
friends
like
with them now.
and like partied with the whole time.
They also stayed in the hotel, so it was
yeah.
There was definitely like a very
It was like the couples were in the hotel.
This was like real world road rules, old school MTV like Survivor show.
Except wasn't that one couple staying in the hostel?
Yeah, the older one, the one that thought we were Jackie and I have tattoos, so like some places you travel, people just automatically think you're like a tattoo artist. And everybody's like, "You got a tattoo artist, mate?"
Oh my god, I forgot
I was
about
like,
that guy.
dude, like, nah, dog, nah,
So
homie,
funny.
weird."
No, there was that other couple. They were brunette. Like I feel like they lived in like Michigan. Or
There was so
something.
much weird shit going on, but
know.
like.
But yeah, basically they take you like bar hopping, club hopping. There's a foam party. We had a whole beach party where we were literally drinking sangria out of buckets.
Out of like big buckets. Yeah, like go over and fill up your cup, and it was like a communal bucket, like full of warm sangria. I was like, hey, yeah, that sounds terrible. Guess what? I drank it. What's good? I'm still here.
Yeah.
I can't say about the other people, but
So I think for both of us too, that was our first time being in like a group
I'd never been in a group
travel
travel
element
anything.
kind of thing. And like it was fun as fuck.
it really was. Even the people that irritate the fuck out of you, like later on, years down the line, you like still will be like, God, do you remember what that chick was doing? Like you'd be like
Like I'll never forget Claire, the tour guide.
I'll never forget her.
And her voice.
Bless her heart. I don't know where she is. She's probably
Claire, where are you?
Claire, where are you? If you're listening and watching, we want to come see you. She probably lives on PP Island now.
Probably.
Thailand. That's another place you just get lost, fam. Like, so that was our first trip, and it was a lot of fun. The tomato fight was absolutely berserk. I mean, that was insane. People were climbing like a telephone pole to try and get jamon, which is Spanish cured ham.
It's the best.
The best, but it's part of it, and it's completely like greased up with fat.
Yeah, it's greased up with pork
It
fat.
looks like some shit out of Apocalypto, like a bunch of people at the bottom of a stake. I thought it was like a town hall. I mean, like a square, right? Of a very beautiful, Brunel was a very beautiful Spanish,
It's a super small village.
super small, like, and it's filled with drunk tourists. People are running around dressed as nuns, and like you were buying buckets of beer and throwing. The trucks came in with tomatoes, basically
like
dump
a dump,
trucks.
yeah, dump truck.
We're wearing goggles because you don't want to get tomato juice in your like acid burning your face.
Yeah, thank God they were selling them
This was
out front because
so
I didn't think about that.
It was
getting
so
into it.
fucking disgusting.
It was so gross.
And when the trucks came through, like there's no like you're in a packed. Imagine like close your eyes. Imagine like you're in Italy, small corridors of Europe. All of a sudden, a dump truck comes through, and it's mountains of people there. They dump all the tomatoes. All fucking hell breaks loose. And also, you're sliding around on tomatoes, trying not to fall into the wheel well of the trucks. There was a moment where I was like, I think I'm gonna fucking die.
I thought we were like,
I thought I was fucked.
we were getting crushed, like,
Yeah.
like vertically, like because we were just packed so tight with people while the trucks were coming through.
Oh, it was fucking nuts.
Like we were right next to it. Like the truck was like inches.
Oh yeah,
from
you're
our
like
face.
so like imagine like we're talking like European, very small European town road, cobble,
Like a medieval town.
Yeah, fucking medieval.
Like
There's like
not made for vehicles.
Yeah, not made for vehicles, like horse and carriage maybe. we're on the sidewall. I'm with Jackie, and I'm like, fuck, I just met this girl. I could keep her safe, blah, blah, blah. You know, my mind, we're dating. And the fucking truck would come through, and I'm like this. The motherfucker is going like this close to you. And you're like, oh, I'm touching the sidewall, and I'm slipping into the ground. And I'm like, oh, well, if I fall, I just get ran over, trampled, pissed on probably too. So yeah, that was
nobody's going to save you.
That was our first trip together. And yeah, it was crazy. And I was like, you know what? I was like, anybody that can hang like that is exactly the like partner I'm looking for. So it was like I was like, oh, cool. Like, this is a girl for me. So we've been adventuring ever since.
Yeah. So after that, it's just been like a whirlwind of trips, like every year.
Yeah.
Since like that year.
Went to Thailand.
Yeah, we went to Thailand. And then, okay, so 2017 was jam packed with trips for us. That's when we went to Amsterdam, Paris, Berlin. We went to Scotland.
Yeah.
We went to Mexico. Then we went to Japan. Like, that was all like within like a year
of meeting. It was really weird. Like, it was just like, hey, what do you want to do? And then it was like, you know, Thailand back then, I would say back then, was really at the height of its tourism, you know.
Agreed.
And, you know, we go there and it was absolutely fucking insane. Like, it was insane. I don't think I ate any real Thai food.
Just that one time.
It was just the one time, but it was German.
Well, yeah, the guy that owned the restaurant was
from Germany.
Had like a harem of Thai women.
Yeah, I was like, oh, this is weird.
But it was really good.
It was killer.
It was really good.
Yeah, so we went to Thailand, and because we both were comfortable enough going to these places because of our own previous travel experience, I think is
Keep
what
talking cats in the cupboard
was the most like important is when you're traveling with people is finding those people that have the same, you know, things they're looking for, whether it's the food, their interest in culture, their interest in history. Nothing's worse if you travel with people that all they want to do is sit out and hang out on a beach, and all you want to do is go climb up those ruins or something. Like, you know, that fucking sucks. So it's all about finding the right group of people to travel with and, you know, sharing those experiences. Like I said, when you travel in groups, there are going to be some people that you may not gel with. And part of what Jackie and I are developing and what we're doing is developing a group of like-minded people, I think, for traveling. And then it's really cool. You meet people you normally wouldn't meet.
Yeah.
You know, very, very, I can't, you know, me with words, eclectic.
Yeah, eclectic.
Eclectic group of people.
Yeah.
You know, there's us and, you know.
We couldn't be more eclectic.
Yeah. A few of the people we
Eccentric.
a few of the people that are already coming on this trip are very, very interesting. And they're just like, it's so cool to be able to share it with other people. Like our excitement of the world and the reason why we want to do this and showcase it is because we always get asked, like, I wish I could do that. I want to experience that. And it's like, I don't want to be a dick, but at the same time, it's like, people will ask me about a place. I'm like, hey, I'm going to give you like the best recommendations for food, places that locals go to. Like, it's not hard for me to figure that out.
Yeah.
For whatever reason. But that's why we want to do this. It's very important to us to give back and give people those experiences. And the places that we go are very fucking exotic because, you know, nothing worthwhile is easy. That's and right. I'm all about, you know, pushing it. It's like, hey, you can go do the regular trips. Are you bored of Mexico? Are you bored of Hawaii? I love Hawaii. I used to work in Hawaii. Hawaii is Malama de Aina. You know what I'm saying? Like, respect Aina. So, it holds a huge place in my heart. But even my friends that would visit Hawaii, I'm like, you're doing just like the tourists hanging out on the beach, take a couple pictures, blah, blah, blah. But like, have you been to a proper, you know, have you been to the family's house? Have you had food?
No,
have you been
they haven't.
Have you been to these parts of the islands? Like, all these things are what I've always been into, you know, as you are. It's like, we go to a place that's like, hey, what's off the beaten path? Because it also alleviates a lot of the things that will stop you from traveling. Because if you do the cruise ship, notice cruises are great, you know, if that's your thing, but you're not having an organic experience. When you hit the deck in a cruise port, it's only tourism spots.
Yeah, you're not getting an authentic experience.
No.
And that's something that we are most passionate about is like, we want to go to the neighborhood bars, the neighborhood restaurants. You know, are there tourist sites we want to see, of course. Like, you know, there's certain places that become tourist destinations because of how incredible they are, because of the history. So we're not striking those things off of our list, but we also want to pair that with, okay, what are the locals doing? Where are they going?
Because once you get comfortable being around the locals, you can navigate the tourist stuff like super easily, rather than being like, oh, I'm in France. I don't know how to go to Eiffel Tower. I have no idea. Well, there's only one fucking way up. Actually, there's two, but you know, there's other things to see. There's so much things to see in these cities, and people avoid certain countries because of certain reasons that they might not even be aware don't even exist.
Yeah. I mean, and I think when I think back to when we very first went to Turkey, you know, I could admit we were both a little bit nervous because we had no idea what to expect. Neither one of us knew anybody that had actually been there, you know, aside from like maybe like a Mediterranean cruise ship stop, you know. So again, just seeing a little sprinkle, not actually getting to experience it. And so when I remember like landing in Istanbul before we were taking our connecting flight to Cappadocia and being like, okay,
oh, you're
like,
here.
We're here. All right. And then we like land at this tiny airport in Cappadocia, and it's like nighttime, and we're driving through these like windy little roads, and it's beautiful because they've uplit they're not mountains, but like the geological formations that are there, and you're just like
incredible.
You're like, where am
and then
I?
you get into Goremi, and you're coming around like the bend, because it's in like a valley. So when you come in at night, it's like this little like ferry area where it's like, oh, there's these, you see like this outcrop of like these, you know, geological sites, and it's like, wait, that's a cave and people are living in that? Like what? And it's like,
yeah, all the cave hotels
it's
are
like
lit
showing up in like Neverland. It's bizarre.
Yeah.
And it's bizarre in the way where it's like, this is a massive area. This isn't like when you come to Hollywood and there's like, okay, here's the Walk of Fame. Okay, everybody get in the bus. Let's go. Like Cappadocia is a massive, massive region. Like there is so much stuff that we've been there 3 times.
Yeah.
And I feel like we've seen a lot, but I haven't seen everything.
Yeah, I feel like there's still stuff we haven't seen.
We keep going to like the edges of it all. Like, because it's like, once you get that taste of something you're really into, it's like, why not go for the fruit? At that point.
Get all of it.
Get all of it.
Yeah. And so on that trip too, like after getting to explore Cappadocia, like that was like our first introduction. Like the hotel we were staying at, Soda, we'll be staying there with our
good friend Nil
on our excursion.
We miss you.
Like the food, the hospitality is just unlike anything either of us have ever experienced before.
It's an emotional overload, I think, in a lot of ways, because you're just not used to that. You're like, wait a second, like it doesn't have that hustle vibe to it. Whereas if like, you know, you go to a resort, you go to these places, oh, they're treating you this way, they're doing this, they're doing that. But there's always like a catch to it. There's always some sort of like, hey, but so much of what we experience with the hospitality is just how the people in Turkey live. Like it's very...
Yeah, it's just how they are full time.
Yeah, and then on our other travels in the Middle East, it's literally just like the culture. So to be able to experience that is such a beautiful thing, especially being a Westerner. You're just like, wow, like, well, that throws out that narrative of anything that was previous, like what you thought.
Yeah.
And those are the things that really are driving my passion to show people that part of the world, is to be able to be like, hey, how do you feel now? Because that's like the real question I want to have at the end of this trip, is with our guests, and be like, I want to have that feedback. I want to know what it did to you, how you felt, and what you get out of it. Because money is nothing, right? Like you can make money, you can lose your job, you get another fucking job, make some more money. But like,
buy crypto, lose crypto.
Yeah, have an experience, and the things that fill your heart are worth more than anything you can hold in your hands. Like it's magic.
Yeah.
And to be able to share that with Jackie and myself, like when we were like, Jackie showed me Japan for the first time, and it blew my fucking mind. And I was like, I would have paid 10 times that for that experience that you and I did.
Yeah.
Because it was magic to me. When you have that feeling, you go somewhere with an open mind, and you kind of just like, hey, I'm here now. Like when we went to Turkey, it's like, I'm fucking here.
Yeah.
Like I'm not, this is what I'm doing. And the experience, you feed off that energy of a place, whether it's the food, the people, the sites that you're seeing, the energy of these old sites that we're going to take our guests to. Like, oh, here you go. Here's some ancient ruins that you've never seen.
Yeah. It totally blew open our minds for this region of the world, and like actually how easy it was to travel there. Like once we got over our, preconceived notions of what it might be, like once we started learning some of the language and like got to realize just how warm and welcoming the people are, how beautiful the country is, how many amazing sites there are there. And there's a reason we keep going back.
Yeah, it's like a lot of people that start traveling, and especially when they're, if they're promoting it for business or this, that, like it's all just so much more focused on selling something, right? It's like, I'm like what we've done for each other. That's why we go back to the same place. People are like, oh, well, they should go somewhere new. It's like, I feel something deep in my heart to a place, and I'm not worried about having to complete some map of ego. Like, oh, you got to go here, you got to go there, you got to go do this.
Got to check every place.
You got to check every place list, and it's just like you're running around for no reason. So, really, my question is like, why? It's like take that risk, It's like go for it, really, because I'm not worried about. It's like I show you one thing that will change your perspective on preconceived notions about a place. You'd be like, fuck, it feels good to be wrong, if that makes sense. It feels fucking, I said that when I went to Turkey. It's like, all I wanted to do was be proved wrong. And it fucking was.
Yeah.
And it changed my life and changed my direction in life completely. Is one of those countries,
Yeah, absolutely.
And, did we go to India before or after Turkey?
That was before.
Yeah. So we had been to India, and that was like another place that, is sacred to me. So it's very much, you take that risk, you're scared, you've heard all these things about these places, but I'm telling you, when you go and you let go of the logical outside ideas and you go feel it tangibly, you're around it, and it is magic. Like I said, the money, whatever you can buy, whatever fucking resort you can go to and be around your neighbor that you know what I mean? Your next door, oh, hey, John. Oh, hey, you're here too in Cabo? Cool, bro. Let's go to Chili's. Fucking cool, man. Let's get cheesecake on the cruise ship.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's okay to get lost. Yeah. It's okay to get lost for a little bit.
Yeah.
It's like you don't need to prove anything to anybody. I just go.
Yeah, it's definitely had such a huge impact on both of us and like our own growth as people, and like how it's opened up our minds and made us more open to so many different kinds of experiences. And I think like our friends and like my clients and whatnot, when they see what we're doing and they see where we're going, like we keep getting this feedback of like, oh my gosh, I had no idea. Like, what? Like, their minds are totally blown when I show them pictures and videos of, these places in Turkey and Jordan and Egypt, where they're like, I did not know that this place looked like that, or that you could have that kind of experience there. And that's really what inspired us to want to do this and want to start taking people to this part of the world. And since we've been to Turkey so many times, and like, we have such a deep love for it, it's like it made perfect sense that this would be the first place that we do this, because all we want to do is share this with people. And we can't wait to see like your eyes light up. We can't wait to like see the smiles on your faces where you're just like, holy shit, like, where am I? I'm getting excited just thinking about it now, because I know for a fact that that's what's going to happen.
Well, yeah. And it's like, especially if you're thinking about going on the trip with us, and, the people that have already signed up, it's like, yeah, people are probably like, oh, you're going to go there. You're going to go do this. You're going to do that. And, it's like you've made the decision yourself because it's something that is exciting to you. So when you come back, you're going to have the same feelings and being like, you know what, let me show you what it was like, and that way it's kind of like, oh wait, well, so-and-so went there and this is what they showed me like the other night. We're at dinner, and one of our friends was a little bit worried. When we mentioned turkey, they didn't know we were doing. I don't tell too many people what my business is and X, Y, and Z. So when it gets mentioned and they're like, oh, aren't you scared to go? And she did this. And it's like, they had no clue that we'd been so many times. And then I showed them some photographs and they're like, that's in Turkey. And I'm like, yes. It's crazy. But Penny agrees.
Yeah, Penny's excited. So to wrap things up, guys, if you have any questions about safety, questions about language, these kind of things, like I'm very, very excited to share with you guys, especially the language aspect. Yeah, we're going to be making some videos on the language. So those of you that are going to be joining us can kind of feel like you know some stuff.
You'll probably learn just from being around us, and you'll be hearing it so much. Even when I get on the plane, it's like immediately just speaking Turkish for 10 days straight. And it's just that's the stuff that changes the world. We can all talk about change, but when you treat people with respect and you go to their country and you know a little bit about their culture, it changes the way that things happen for you. If you go somewhere thinking, oh, I'm in New York, so I'm going to treat it like Manhattan. Bro, you're in India. It ain't fucking Manhattan. Yeah. There's parts of India that are Manhattan. But if you go with an ego or you have these ideas that you can change a place by just trying to change the people, like, it doesn't happen. Mm-hmm. You go with positivity and respect and watch what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So feel free to send us a message, DM.
Hit up Amira. She's behind you on the chair. Amira means princess in Arabic.
Yeah, she's customer support.
Yeah, that's our customer. Yeah, so all complaints go to Amira. She'll deal with you guys.
Yeah, she's really, really helpful.
Yeah, so like Jackie said, any questions, anything at all, please reach out.
You can visit our website, ascension.guru. There you'll find links to information about the trip. Also, email link is on there. It's real easy.
Yeah, hit us up through Instagram as well at ascension.excursions. Mm-hmm. And hope to see you soon, inshallah.